Well, hello there, and welcome to another edition of 310 to Left, presented by your New England Ford dealers and F Series, America's best-selling truck for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. Tom Caron with the Red Sox in Houston. Alex Speier manning the fort back home in Boston. Alex, how are you?
I'm delighted actually because looking over your shoulder and seeing the reference to the tequila mockingbird beverage brings me back to my halcyon days. I actually wrote a bartending guide that included recipes for a number of beverages. And at the time, I did not realize that there was already an alcoholic beverage called a tequila mockingbird. And so I was like, "Oh, I'll be so clever! I will create and include mention of a tequila mockingbird." And then I discovered that in fact there was a tequila mockingbird. And so in homage to where in recognition of the fact that that my spirit was crushed by this development, I instead included a beverage called the Tequila Dream.
Hey, I like that.
Thank you.
Were there lawsuits filed from the original creator of the Tequila Mockingbird, or did you skate through this without the legal system coming
No,
after
no,
you?
no. There was fortunately the aside from a serious fight over the origins of the Mai Tai that existed many years ago between like Trader Vic and whoever else was competing for it. There have been very few, I think, lawsuits involving the origin of cocktails.
Yeah, I feel you work it out over a cocktail and you move on, right? Everyone just forgets about it the next day. You have other things to worry about the next day, not who
Civilization
named the
begins with
drink you're
distillation.
drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, I like that. Meantime, the Red Sox find themselves in Houston, which is interesting, right? There's a lot of history here for a lot of people. History for the Red Sox, having come through here in 2018 and ending here in 2021. But also, and this is the story of the series, Alex Bregman returns. Carlos Correa returns. Alex Cora returns, but Alex Cora has returned before, so it's not quite the story. The Red Sox, after losing 2 of 3 in San Diego, take on a Houston team that they swept at Fenway and is a playoff team and wants to reassert themselves in this mix. So it's a really intriguing few days here in Houston.
There's a lot going on, no doubt. Between there's the plot and there are the subplots, and both of them are compelling in their own ways. But yeah, of course, for the Red Sox, the kind of top level one is can they beat a playoff team on the road or a team that's very much in the playoff hunt on the road? Because we've seen them; they are one of the best home teams in baseball at this point, right? They have a lineup that is built to take advantage of Fenway Park. Their pitching staff has done a wonderful job of pitching to the dimensions of Fenway Park as well. But what they haven't done is consistently beat top level teams on the road. They have played them in really competitive fashion, and I think that these have been. Alex Cora has talked earlier in the post All Star break moments about the idea that these are kind of building blocks for a young team. The idea of going into Philadelphia after the break and playing them tough in 2 out of 3, or going into Wrigley Field and losing the series, but kind of pulling a rabbit from the hat in the final game so that they didn't get swept. Again, in this one, we saw the Red Sox winning the first game of the series in San Diego, then then being in it into extra innings in that second game, and then not so in it in the third game. So we're waiting to see where the growth happens on the road, and whether or not that matters is subject to debate. But it would be, I think, reassuring for the Red Sox to see that they could actually win one of these tough road series.
Yeah, I thought it was a really interesting weekend in San Diego. You got to look at the best bullpen in the game. You had Mason Miller coming in the seventh inning on Saturday night. That's not a bad arm to deploy in the seventh inning of a game
Yeah.
that you want to win. It's really. I mean, they have gone out and gone after guys, and they've got 4 or 5 guys who can come in and put together. It's kind of built for the playoffs, right? I mean, that's how you win in the playoffs as a bullpen, and they've got the best.
Yeah, when you look at the guys who were used on Saturday, and then the arms who were still fresh that they were able to bring in on Sunday, it was eye opening because yeah, it's stuff out the wazoo. It's kind of the Death Star bullpen where there's just so many different ways of blowing up an opposing lineup. It's pretty striking, and so and you only have that that little area for targeting with your X-wing or whatever and shooting the lasers in order to take it down. It's a high degree of difficulty to be able to overcome. That, you need to be able to take a lead early in all likelihood, and it's a different game. These were different games than the ones that the Red Sox have been playing. When you're talking about knocking out Michael King in the third inning in that second game of the series, and then it's just arm after arm after arm, and so this is what you have to be able to overcome in order to pull off a couple of late innings wins in a postseason run.
Yeah, and that was a game you did win. You did lead, right? The Saturday night game was the game that you probably kicked yourself because you had that lead, but you just with Giolito the walks. I mean, 4 consecutive walks in that inning, just completely lost his way. And after that, they were, even though they got the tying run, and Roman Anthony again rises to the moment, right? He gets it done with the double that ties the game in the 9th inning. Love the fact that after that game in the clubhouse, all I wanted to talk about is how it sucked that they lost. He didn't want to talk about anything individual at all. We've watched him come and all the way through the minors here, Alex. No big surprise to those of us who have watched him all along, but it was an unbelievable reminder that this isn't a guy who's trying to fit in. This is a guy who's trying to win a championship. And Rafael has talked about that, right? Where last year was maybe about proving I'm a major leaguer and development and all that. Now he's like, if I'm 0 for 4 and we win, you're going to see a smile ear to ear. It's really impressive that these young guys have gone from on-the-job development to trying to win a championship, and that's where they are now.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating, and through the years, especially last year when Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer and Kyle Teal were together in Portland, like from the beginning of the year, the three of them had this conversation that was ongoing about duck boats, right? They weren't thinking about personal development goals. They were thinking about what they were what they were trying and striving to achieve collectively. I've been told that they don't really talk so much about duck boats, that Marcel, I guess Teal's departure really hindered the duck boats conversation, but it does show you something about what they're about. And I do think that there is a part of this younger wave that is establishing itself, that's focused on the right things, which is not, you don't take that for granted. That can be a very hard thing to do, to arrive in the big leagues and be focused on collective outcomes rather than individual ones. It's something that has been kind of eye-opening for members of the Red Sox with regards to Roman Anthony, and yet not, because as Jose Flores, the first base coach, who was the bench coach last year in Worcester, pointed out, when Roman Anthony arrived in Worcester last year, it was the same thing. The Red Sox ended up turbocharging what they were, or rather the Woo Sox ended up turbocharging their success on the field. They had been a below 500 team that suddenly became a juggernaut down the stretch. They missed the playoffs, but that wasn't any fault of Roman Anthony's. And it feels to Flores like history is repeating itself at the big league level this year with the way that Roman Anthony's arrival impacted the big league team.
All right, let's get to Houston because, again, fascinating that they were on the road since the trade deadline. They got Carlos Correa back, but he hadn't played until they got here Monday night, which coincides with Alex Bregman returning. I think 6 of their seasons together in Houston. And, of course, Alex Cora was here as their coach for a year. So a lot came together, and the media was waiting to talk to both Correa and Bregman about their return. Let's hear what Alex Bregman had to say about being back in Houston on 310 to Left, presented by your New England Ford dealers.
Alex, what does it feel like you've been on the other side where you've seen old teammates return to this ballpark. What does it feel like to walk in here today?
No, it feels great to be back. We landed yesterday, last night, and immediately went to Whataburger, so I had to get back in the Texas swing of things. But it's awesome. It's great to be back here. So many great memories. So much love for the people here in Houston, the fans, my teammates, the coaches, this entire organization. Had just an amazing time here. I'll be forever grateful to the Astros organization, and it's great to be back.
Alex, what do you think about the interesting timing of you playing your first game since leaving here the same day that Carlos makes his return to Minute Maid Park?
No, yeah, super cool. Obviously, was shocked at the news during the trade deadline, and it was awesome. And it looks like he's fit right back in. He's a great player, a leader, great teammate. So it's always difficult to compete against him because he's such a good competitor. But we're going to give it our best shot today.
Alex, you expect it to be kind of an emotional moment when you get your welcome back here, man, because the love runs deep for you in this city, and I know you know that.
Yeah, for sure. Just kind of like what I said before, it's just had such a great time here. So many great people here in Houston. So many amazing memories, and it's gonna be a really special to be back here and playing in the game here again. And just looking forward to it. I've been looking forward to it for a while. Obviously, two really good teams competing today, and just it's a special day for sure.
You got to see him at Fenway last week. Does that sort of help? You kind of get to see the guys, and now you get to enjoy this moment.
Yeah, for sure. Got to talk to a lot of the guys. I mean, we stay in touch throughout the year, regardless. But getting to see them and walking down today and seeing Carl, some of the guys in the clubhouse staff, the security guys, some of the guys that worked in the kitchen. Just it's been great. It's been great to see some old friends here, and it's a special place for me, my family. Started my family here. My sister still lives here. My mother-in-law and father-in-law still live here. Knox was born here, so we love it. We love Houston. We love the people here, and it's good to be back.
Did muscle memory want to turn into the home clubhouse? Like, did you have to think through where you're going?
Walked by it on the way in. Walked by with a few of my old teammates on the way in, and found the way over here. But I mean, really nice job over here on the visiting side. It's nice in there.
Alex, during your time here in Houston, what did you learn most playing alongside Carlos, maybe the teammate?
Say again?
What did you learn most playing alongside Carlos when you were here in Houston?
Oh, just a competitor. I feel like just winning players, guys who know how to win, know how to compete, guys who get after it on a daily basis, want to get better at the game of baseball every single day, and want to improve and be the best version of themselves. And it's a contagious culture of winning and trying to continuously improve. And it's been the same here. We have a younger team this year, but guys are focused on getting better any way they possibly can, and I think we've seen that through the evolution of this team this year. And obviously we're in a wild card spot right now, but we believe that we're a very good ball club, and it's always good to play against the best teams in the league, and that's what we feel like we're playing against when we play the Astros.
Carlos was saying that he likes playing third because he doesn't have to move his feet as much, feels less tired after the games. What do you think of him playing there now?
Yeah, no, I think he's going to do great over there. Obviously, he's got an incredible arm. We always used to say if he catches the ball, the guy's out because of how good the arm is. And he's gonna make the transition great. He's a platinum glove winner at shortstop, so third base should be pretty easy for him.
What was your Whataburger order, if you don't mind sharing?
Number 3. Yeah, number 3. No tomato.
Thank you.
Large Dr. Pepper.
Alex, I'm sure it might be hard to narrow it down considering all you did here, but is there a favorite memory of yours from here?
I'd say the championships and just seeing how resilient the city is and how it comes together when times are tough. And the people here, just the people here are great. My teammates, the coaches, everything, all the memories in the clubhouse, the busting our tail trying to find a way to win a baseball game every single day, the everyday grind of it was fun for us. So a lot of good memories, but winning is special, and to be able to go to the playoffs 8 years in a row and make to the ALCS 7 in a row and 4 World Series and 2 World Championships, it was pretty special, and be forever grateful to this organization.
Alex, first came back for Christian Javier. What's that going to be like facing him, and what he brings?
Yeah, he's tough. Obviously, elite fastball, the invisible fastball. So, got to find a way to do a good job of putting together some good at bats today, and try and get as many guys on as possible.
Alex, back at spring training, you talked about this a winning organization, the Red Sox, and that was one of the reasons it was a good fit for you. 40 games left, you're in the thick of it. Sort of what you envisioned, what you thought about when you were first driving to Fort Myers?
No doubt. I feel like we're in a good spot right now. Obviously, we've been playing really good baseball, and I feel like just continue to grow as a team, continuing to execute at a high level. I feel like we'll be in a good position to make a strong push at this thing.
Which one of your many walkout songs do you think they'll choose to
I don't know. I changed it every day. Every day that I went 0 for 4, I changed it and got a new one. So I know you always tweeted it out. Too, so. Another walk-up song. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe want to be a baller.
310 to Left is presented by your New England Ford dealers who've been taking everyone out to the ball game at Fenway Park for decades. Catch Ford next time you're at Fenway, including in the Ford Clubhouse, a full-service bar perfect for bringing your lineup together and for recording our live edition of 310 to Left. It's all brought to you by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox.
All right, so I mean, obviously, Bregman was a guy who meant a lot to the recent run of success, right? And you got to wonder, was there an opportunity for Houston to keep him? It has worked out well. It's a lot to talk about right now with Bregman because Scott Boras was in San Diego over the weekend. News came out they'd rather wait till after the season to talk about any kind of extension, which would mean that they'll take the opt-out and then you're back. Whereas a month or two ago it was all warm and fuzzy about Alex Bregman, what he's meant for this team. Now it's, well, Alex Bregman has meant so much to this team, but where does he fit it in the future? Now we're back in Houston. You're looking at his past. It's Alex Bregman's time, man. It's all coming together for him, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, save for the fact that the Astros are still at the beginning of this series. You know, the Astros arrived at the series still in first place in the AL West, right? Which is the only thing that, which is the only kind of question mark that hovers over that. It's like, oh, there is life after Bregman for the Astros. Granted, they ended up feeling sufficiently insecure about that because of the injury to Paredes that they ended up having to go out and trade for Carlos Correa to be their third baseman. So obviously they've been struggling to find stability at that position, but they've been able to play well in the aftermath. So you can reconfigure with the departure of a guy who's seen as a cornerstone foundational player. That said, I think that all things considered, there's a reason why the Astros were making a 6-year offer to Bregman to keep him around in Houston last offseason. And there's a reason why everyone around the Red Sox and everyone who observes the Red Sox says this is a guy who the Red Sox need to work really hard to try to retain moving forward. I think that, you know, they obviously were able to catch they were obviously able to play well and to find consistency, a consistent groove without him. But when he is on the field, the stability that it brings to the left side of the infield, that it brings to the batting order, where he's like the only guy who's in a stable position in the lineup on a night over night basis. And of course, the clubhouse influence that he's able to have on a young team is pretty remarkable. And I think that's there's a reason why the Astros fans are going to be very excited to see him.
The rest of the baseball world, or at least a good portion of the baseball world, will have to take a moment and bring up the 2017 scandal that shrouded the World Series championship, because you've got Correa and Bregman and Alex Cora all coming back. And I thought it was interesting talking to Alex Cora about all of this. He goes, listen, we will have to live with that for the rest of our lives. It is part of our biography. It's part of our resume. It's part of our life. He goes, but what has impressed me is what Bregman, and he talked about his wife Reagan, and what they did in this community in Houston beyond that, right? How they were able to put that behind them as best they could and become important parts of the Astros culture and community, and not let that be something that sort of broke apart all of that here in Houston. And he said Alex Bregman was a really important part of that. You kind of realize how important a guy he was here in Houston in the years that followed 2017.
Yeah, when you think about him being the kind of like anchor, the anchor who linked the two championship runs, like him and Verlander, right? End up being kind of the critical elements of the critical elements spanning their successes. They did turn over a lot, with watching Correa go, and obviously Altuve was also the central figure there and remains there as the kind of like iconic franchise player. But yeah, I think that there's a great reason why Alex Bregman was viewed as an organizational anchor. He was so beloved within the Houston front office and among the Houston coaching staff. I've always thought that it was telling that in free agency, the teams that seemed to push hardest for Bregman were ones that had people who knew him already, right? So Houston tries to re-sign him. AJ Hinch and the Tigers make a big push to try to sign him. Alex Cora, who had him as a bench coach in Houston, tried really hard and ended up being successful in making the pitch for him to sign. And I think that he is. It's striking to see to think about what the Astros series looked like in Fenway Park, right? Where it used to be that Bregman and Correa and Altuve would all get booed mercilessly, but now it didn't take very long for Bregman to move onto the opposite side of the fence, right? And for Red Sox fans to treat him as a beloved figure. But you still hear the anger in Red Sox fans, right? Every time Altuve and Correa step to the plate, they still hear it. But but apparently Bregman, all is forgiven the second that he stepped into a Red Sox uniform, in part because of how he's conducted himself as a Red Sox.
Yeah, because he represented so much of what that clubhouse needed, right? That Dustin Pedroia type leader who could come in and become the mentor to the young players as he has. Well, I want to get to your weekend because while I was just covering the Red Sox, you were at water parks. But in addition to going down the slide, you were in Worcester, where Payton Tolle got to make his AAA debut and an incredible meteoric rise through 11 single A starts, 6 at the AA level, and now just a year after his draft, he is pitching at the AAA level and is a door knock away from getting an opportunity. Really impressive guy, really big guy, and I remember talking to him at spring training and really fascinating guy to talk about pitching. You got to do that over the weekend. What were your impressions of Payton Tolle?
Well, it's first of all, he exudes a joy in what he's doing that's very refreshing. He is very appreciative of his circumstance. His mom passed away last year while he was in his junior year and getting ready for the major league draft, and she was a light. She is described by everyone who knew her as having been such an uplifting personality and someone who Payton Tolle tries to honor by being the same type of person. And so people around him truly enjoy being around him, which is a great credit to him and to his mom. But beyond that, he's someone who who doesn't seem there's not a lot of stress in what he's doing. He enjoys what he's doing. He loves the act of competing on the mound. He has kind of a bit of a swagger on the mound where there's a little bit of a cowboy in him. It's not quite a K strut after he punches guys out, but there's a whole, I don't know. There's definitely a presence on the mound when he strikes out people, and he strikes out a lot of people, mostly by virtue of the fact that he has a really strange and interesting and overpowering fastball. Even in his debut in Worcester, where he ended up giving up 6 runs in the first inning, there was a double play grounder that could have gotten out of the inning, and instead it got botched a little bit. And then, a couple batters later, you have a grand slam, and things went off the rails. He managed to rein it back in, and there were 20 swings against his fastball. 10 of them resulted in swings and misses. So that's not typical. But that is typical for him. He's been running roughly a 50% whiff rate on his fastball all season long, and that's the anchor of that. That pitch is unusual because he's a huge dude, but he releases the ball from a really low arm slot, and yet it has kind of rise to it. It has ride and rise, and so it baffles opposing hitters, and it's a really good pitch. It is, and so the question is, how does the rest of the arsenal get built out? The one thing that he did, line score aside, is that he threw everything, and he threw 6 different pitch types in his AAA debut. all of them were in the strike zone. All of them had a 50% in-zone rate or better, usually much better. I think he was 60% in-zone for the game, which is well above Major League average. So he takes to heart this idea that the Red Sox try to espouse of throw nasty stuff in the zone, and he's willing to go and attack people. And, it'll be interesting to see what kind of adjustments he makes in that second start in order to kind of be on point a little bit faster. But there are some elements to what he does that have put him on a track that's very unusual for a young Red Sox prospect, because it's been 2 decades since we've seen someone who within a year of being drafted was up in AAA.
And we could be seeing that. We'll talk about that in a moment. First, your conversation is Alex Speier with Payton Tolle as he was getting ready to make his AAA debut on 310 presented by your New England Ford dealers.
Here at Polar Park with Payton Tolle. Payton recently called up. You are the first, I think, pitcher to get to AAA in his first full professional season in the Red Sox organization in like 20 years. What on earth did you do to get here? Why are you in AAA, do you think?
I think I ate a lot this year. It's been a lot of hard work from a lot of different people to put this situation into action. So it's just very, very exciting and an honor to be here.
Yeah, well, the excitement part, right? Like, it is unusual to be up at this level in your first full professional season. Success is usually like you have a great year, you're finishing the year in AA. When they're moving you to AAA, that's not random, right? Like AAA, you are immediately being thought of like that's grooming time for the big leagues.
Yeah.
How much does when Epi informed you, when Chad Epperson informed you you were going up to AAA, what crossed your mind? What are the thoughts that you're processing?
I think it was first a little bit of a shock, like this is wow, moving quick, just in general, we're trying to like slow everything down, but like I said, it's an absolute honor to be here. And, I growing up in Oklahoma City, we got the AAA team right there. So, to now be playing at that level is, it's kind of surreal in a way. But, very exciting. And all the guys here have been super welcoming and been able to talk to Fitz and Early and Sandlin, just a lot of great guys up here.
Who do you remember watching? Like, who did you really lock in on at Oklahoma City when you were growing up? Because that's Dodgers, right? Like,
I think that
a lot of special talents coming through.
While I was there, it's kind of, I think the name that I remember the most is J.B. Shuck. While I was there, it was the Astros.
Yeah.
So it was, it's just very, J.B. Shuck being the only name that I remember is I think that's kind of funny, but yeah, it was pretty young at the time, obviously, but yeah, it was a really good time. We'd go sit in the foul territory, and it'd only be us.
Yeah.
So we would go, we'd just farm baseballs. All game.
Perfect. Well, so it's a little bit different to be viewing AAA from this perspective, obviously, but the fact that you're here is wild, because a year ago at this time, you had been drafted by the Red Sox. You'd had a really good junior season. Obviously, that's the reason why they're taking you second round. At the same time, you weren't pitching in games, right? Like you were like being hidden in the lab. I don't know if that's like a comfortable. What is it like to live in a lab?
I mean, it's quite the lab down there in Fort Myers, but no, it was really good that first few months of being with the guys, being with this class, full of great guys, fun guys. We would have a good time, but we would still be very serious about our work, and it was just, it was a lot of training, a lot of development happened in those, I don't want to say like middle of July to November that, now looking back on it is like, it was worth it. So, a couple of long days, early mornings, but other than that, like, it was just a really great situation, and a lot of guys, the people down there, they're very bought into what they're doing. So I think that's something that this draft class just happened, like, kind of looking back, like, it's very exciting times, whether you realize it or not.
Yeah, well, it's fascinating because, obviously you had been a two-way player throughout your college career, less so once you transferred to TCU in that last year, but nonetheless, like, dividing your time. So you don't really know where exactly you're going to be able to push where your limits lie, right?
Yeah.
Like, how, And so the question was, you were throwing, you have this really weird arm action, right? Like low 3/4 slot. You're a huge dude. You're standing 6'6", and yet you're releasing the ball like a foot below that, but with like this insane extension. So Red Sox love those elements. They love kind of the shapes of your pitches. Yeah. But you're sitting 91, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're at TCU.
Yeah.
Did you have any idea where the velocity was going to be going by the time you took the mound in live BPs in spring training?
I think the biggest thing that, like, as I was growing up, throughout doing the whole two-way thing, is like me and my dad always thought like there's the hard velo's in there.
Yeah.
It's just how are we going to get it out?
Right.
And then now, the way that I've put it is I'm able to put all my eggs into one basket now. Instead of having to spread my training economy over hitting and pitching, I can do everything into pitching 100%. So it's just, I think that has projected a lot, like very quickly, and helped out a lot. And then, it also helps out on the mental side too, because like my job is to make hitters uncomfortable, and I know what it was like being uncomfortable. So, but yeah, I think it's just, kind of start clicking, understanding the body, and then moving as fast as I can down the mound.
Well, so you're moving as fast as you can down the mound with bigger stuff, right? Like you're kind of sitting around 95 this year.
Yeah.
I think you've touched 8,
right?
Yeah. First time in your life that you've put up those kinds of numbers?
Yeah. It's I think we're on like a 3 mile an hour average higher than I was in college, which is exciting.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and I think we're just gonna continue to grow that, and I think there's still a lot of things, especially on the strength and conditioning side, that I'm trying to get better at. That'll just keep pushing that higher and higher. But yeah, it's exciting. Throwing hard's fun.
Well, especially like you are a lot of guys at this point are being asked, okay, let's dial back fastball usage. Like, let's really emphasize leading with the secondary or leading with the. You're coming at them with the fastball, right?
Yeah.
This might sound weird, but high A, there aren't a lot of guys with fastballs like yours. Was it too easy to kind of beat hitters with the fastball? Was it hard to push yourself to figure out this is what I need to work on really in order to if the focus is on the big leagues ultimately, right? It's one thing, it's great to be able to dominate high A hitters with a really good fastball, but that's not what's going to push you up to AAA right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think the biggest thing that this organization talks about, especially on the pitching side, is what is Major League Payton Tolle going to look like. It doesn't matter. There's plenty of guys that could go through high A with a good fastball and be able to have success with it, but it's training it, turning yourself into the big league version of you, and it's sometimes it's easy to fall into the fastball trap, especially with how much I've used it in the past, and now it's like I can use a ton of different things now. I got different tools in the toolbox. So, but it's been a great process with the off-speed pitches, especially because I know that that's where they need to be.
Well, so what is in the toolbox? Because my understanding is that you keep going to the hardware store, right? I've been told that even as recently as your last days in Portland, you were kind of working on developing something new. Yeah. What do you got?
So we got the fastball, obviously, and then a changeup, kick changes.
That's the new one?
That's one of the new ones.
Okay. Ooh, one of the new ones.
Changeup, we've been working a lot and over and over again, pretty much since the beginning of spring training. But it's in a really good place right now. The curveball is coming along pretty well. That was another kind of new one that I stopped throwing it whenever I got drafted, and then we brought it back now. And then the very new one is the cutter. So we've been spending plenty of training time on that right now, and just trying to maximize our uses whenever we can with it. And then we still got the gyro slider. We still got the sweeper. But I think there's going to be an increase in the other pitches.
Yeah, so the cutter and the changeup, I assume, are really so that you can both get in on the hands of right-handed hitters and then also give them something, leave them kind of just lunging out there.
Yeah, exactly. So we're just trying to kind of play off fastball as much as we can. We'll have fastball with high vert. All the baseball guys out there, I guess, will get it. But fastball with the high vert and then cutting down the changeup to almost zero vert is going to create a very good separation with that, and then the cutter just play right off of it with some velo. I think, like I said earlier, making hitters uncomfortable is our job, and I think that those three right now can do that.
Well, it's interesting for me to think about your perspective on making hitters uncomfortable because of your experiences. Yeah. And let's also, you were really good as a two-way player, right? Like there were, you really performed, especially Wichita State when you were doing it a lot.
Yeah.
You put up some big offensive numbers. You know what it is to be a hitter.
Yeah.
You have the luxury of traject down here. Like,
yeah.
Do you ever have you ever stood in the box against yourself?
We've joked about it, but I think that every time that it gets brought up, there's at least one staff member in the room that says, "Yeah, I'm getting fired if that happens." So we're not going to do that just yet. That might maybe like an end of the career type of thing, but I think that we put the bat down, and I haven't picked one up since, and so it would probably get ugly in there. But I think the prime hitting versus the prime pitching, I just swung and missed too much as a hitter. I tried to see how far the ball would go, and whenever you try to do that, you swing and miss a lot. So I think that the prime pitching would definitely take over.
Well, the other hard thing, though, is that, traject wouldn't get to the weirdness of your, I'm sorry, they like to talk about uniqueness. As I would talk about you this year, I'd be like, his delivery is really weird. We prefer unique.
Well, I've said this before, my mom said it was really pretty. She always called me pretty, so I think it's a pretty unique is the way that I like it.
Okay. Then we'll go with that. We go with mom, and we honor your mom every way that we can. But the thing that's really interesting is the thing that one of your superpowers is you release the ball 7.5 feet down in front of the rubber, right? So that's the thing that traject doesn't do.
Yeah.
You would have to move up the screen in order to be able to replicate what it's like. I mean, did you ever face anyone who had really elite extension and with their stuff getting right on you in a way that seemed like an optical illusion?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of guys. It's been so long now that I can't think of the names, but yeah, the more ways that you can perceive velo, the better. I think there was a ton of guys that they might be 88, 89, but it moves a certain way. It looks like it jumps out of their hand, or maybe it sinks and it disappears. So there's so many ways now that pitchers have found to be unique, and I think that hitters nowadays are gonna have a harder time with that with perceived stuff.
Yeah,
so.
Well, especially when you've decided that you just keep buying the tools.
Keep
exactly. Going to the hardware store and treating more.
Make the scouting report wrong. Is what the fun part about that is.
Yeah, well, it's a fascinating thing. Dustin May made his Red Sox debut the other day, and it was not lost on me that a guy who had barely used his cutter at all, all of a sudden in his first Red Sox start, is pounding cutters in the first couple of innings, and the Royals looked very puzzled against him because it's you are cheating the scouting report, basically.
Yeah.
So you are promoted to AAA. There are no accidental promotions to AAA, right? Again, that puts you in a position where there's at least a kind of thought bubble, you would think, with regards to the organization. How much do you process that? Do you allow yourself to think I am sitting, 40-ish miles and one short call away from the big leagues?
I think that it's just I've said this a ton of times this week is just trying to be where your feet are, understanding the situation that you're in, but also I'm not there, so I need to work on what I need to work on here, and then whenever whoever believes that the time is right, and then my feet can be there. So just trying to, I think the phrase that I've used a few times is let the carrot dangle, so, and me and Sandler were joking about it today, is you can kind of smell the carrot a little bit now, so just trying not to be satisfied with smelling the carrot, and we want the carrot. So, and it's really odd that I've used the word carrot this many times because I really don't like carrots.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Are you a go-to veggies veggies and dip guy?
Dangling the donut, I guess, like Homer Simpson, just right there. But so just trying to be where our feet are and have a good time with it.
Well, when you think about the progress that you've made, part of it is reflected in the fact that, you're in AAA. Another part was, you were a second-round pick and last year, and all of a sudden you're being discussed as one of the top left-handed pitchers in all of minor league baseball. You are a major part of trade conversations, right? You are known through, like, how wild is it to think about the fact that over the course of, 13 months after you were drafted, you've kind of changed your position in the sport.
Yeah, I mean, it's try not to get caught up in all that stuff. It is fun, but yeah, I mean, try to have perspective about all of it, and understanding of where I have come from, and where the end goal is, and the end goal is not to be a top arm in minor league baseball. So but just super thankful for the opportunity, and it's great to have the understanding that a lot of guys in this organization believe in me, but I believe in a lot of people in this organization to help me get to this position. So it's everybody is included on this, to the strength and conditioning staff, nutrition, athletic training. It's everybody is bought in on it. So it's just it's very exciting, but trying to not care about the noise.
Yeah, well, the nutrition staff will more appreciate the carrot than the donut, but I think you get to choose the spread at some point.
Yeah, at some point. But I'm trying to think. Really, carrots are like anything but carrots. Really is terrible analogy.
We'll work on that. There will be time for that. You'll work on pitch mixes, kick changes, cutters, and carrots. I guess is what we're working on.
Carrot cake is bad too. I'm just not in on carrots at all, and I keep saying carrots.
The cream cheese frosting is really good with carrot cake. We can find some consensus. Payton, really appreciate the time. Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
3:10 to left is presented by your New England Ford dealers, who've been taking everyone out to the ball game at Fenway Park for decades. Catch Ford next time you're at Fenway, including in the Ford Clubhouse, a full-service bar perfect for bringing your lineup together and for recording our live edition of 3:10 to left. It's all brought to you by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox.
Good stuff. Let's just project what that means. You talk about David Sandlin, who they threw into the bullpen, and you kind of sit there thinking there, where does Payton Tolle fit in, if at all, with this team over the final 6 weeks of the season?
I think that's a big old TBD, right? You don't assume that he's going to be ready to make the jump. And again, he gave up 6 runs in that first inning in AAA, so you don't take for granted that he's going to be blowing the doors off of opposing hitters and proving himself major league worthy. This is a different deal. That idea of the September trial is very different than it used to be, because you only have roster expansion to 26 players in September now, instead of, or rather to 28 players, excuse me. So you get 1 extra pitcher in September. That's it. So do the Red Sox end up taking a proven bullpen arm with that? Someone like a Brennan Bernardino type, who was really good, by the way, in the month of July. Do they end up bringing up someone? Do they end up bringing up a long man? Like Cooper Criswell, again, very good the last time that we saw him in the major leagues against the Houston Astros. Or do they take a shot on a guy who has yet to experience the big leagues? David Sandlin would be added to the 40-man roster anyway after this season. He's being groomed for maybe a multi-innings bullpen role. Justin Willard, who's the Red Sox director of pitching, said that the stuff has a chance to be comparable to that of someone like a Griffin Jax or a Duran, like both of whom he worked with in the Twins system. And those are kind of the late innings arms who were most coveted at the deadline. And part of the Red Sox thinking was, we have a guy who at least has a little bit of a chance. He's not proven, right? It's until you're a suspect when you're a prospect. But there's stuff there that you can play around with. And the Red Sox are actually in a pretty interesting point, because August is a month of attrition. We've seen their season completely derailed in recent years by a lack of depth in August and September. And this year they are way better positioned than they've been at any point in years in terms of what they have in AAA, where it might not be, in the case of Tolle and Sandlin, those are guys who have a chance to kind of move the ceiling of the team. But in terms of being able to reinforce the floor and helping the team be able to weather fatigue or performance issues or whatever else, they're way better situated in AAA than they've been in a long time.
And Dustin May is going to have a lot to say about how they make those decisions, right? To a lesser extent, Walker Buehler, we've seen certainly San Diego over the weekend, 6 shutout innings, one of his better outings with the Red Sox. But Dustin May is going to have to prove he can hold on to that spot, because if you're looking for a starter, then, as you said, it could be Criswell, it could be Tolle. But it's not a matter of just adding bullpen arms at that point. It's trying to figure out how to put together the start. So that will be, I think, something really worth watching over the next couple of weeks when Dustin May takes the mound.
Yeah, if right, watching to see if not just if Dustin May can really get on a nice roll and build off of, there have been moments where the stuff has looked impressive, but he's primarily sinker slider, or rather sinker sweeper, and then obviously working hard to incorporate the four seam and the cutter, especially in that first Red Sox outing. But yeah, I think that they're going to wait to see, does Dustin May get on a roll? Does Cooper Criswell get on a roll? Does Payton Tolle get on a roll? Does Connolly Early, also in AAA, end up getting on a roll? I think that there are different directions that this can go. I think that the Red Sox there might ultimately be there's still an audition that's taking place for the back end of the Red Sox rotation, and I think that we can't take it for granted that Walker Buehler has shown now flashes against some of the best teams he's faced this year. Road start against the Phillies, road start against the Padres. So, take those are important data points, but he has to be able to build upon that and string those together rather than having those be one-off outings.
It's a great conversation to have, and we'll have more of it in a couple of days. You talked to other people. Who else did you talk to while you were in Worcester?
I talked to David Sandlin as well about his bullpen. So, yeah.
There you go. We'll have that in our next edition. I'll be with Garrett Whitlock as well. So that all comes together as you talk about bullpen and stretch run and who'll be doing what. So that's a tease for our next edition. But until then, Alex, great to see you. And real quickly, we got about 30 seconds maybe. How was the water park? How was the weekend at the slides?
They were cooling. That was very helpful. You always wonder about how sanitary the conditions are, but they are nonetheless. But you try to set that aside and just live in the moment, Tom. Live in the moment.
That's good advice for all of us. We could use a little cooling in Houston. I'll tell you that. Heat index of about 110 later today, they said. So we are looking forward to that. Alex, it's always great to see you. We'll see you at Fenway later this weekend. But before that, we'll see you in our next edition of 310 to Left. Thanks to everybody for checking out this one. For Alex Speier, I'm Tom Caron. Thanks for watching and listening to 310 to Left, presented by New England Ford Dealers and F-Series, the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. We'll see you next time.